We're now to another turning point in my life when this time I knew I was launching into the unknown. I'd felt I'd been called to the priesthood since the age of 10 when I first entered parochial school. That led me naturally, being in the 1970s, if you wanted to be a Catholic priest holding fast to the Latin Mass, the Society of St. Pius X was it. That's all we knew. That's all we had. And so I went into the society, and then we come to 1980. My family moves up to St. Mary's, Kansas, to be near the compound there. And I'm trying to show my good faith after my problems with the seminary and stuff. I may have discussed that elsewhere. If not, I'll do that some other time. Now we're coming down to the point that I'm seeing things wrong. I'd seen things wrong in Armada in '78. I thought it was a localized problem. My discussion with Archbishop Lefebvre led me to believe this. Now I come to St. Mary's. I'm starting to see things wrong. I run into another man. In fact, we flew to Econ together in '77 during the seminary. And he's telling me about problems that are going on at Econ, Albano, and I believe it was Wiesbaden he'd heard about. Okay, now it's no longer an isolated problem. And I'm seeing more and more problems coming into the summer of 1980 there at St. Mary's. And so I decided to leave aside my housefather job, of course, for the summer, not to pick up some other big job. I had sacristies that need to be cleaned out, gone through, etc. I wanted to study some, and I wanted to pray. And so I prayed the summer of '80 for the truth. Towards the end of the summer of '80, it started coming in with meeting some people in Kansas City and discussing the purchase of St. Vincent's there in Kansas City, and how one of the prime movers who got the job done was being mistreated by the Society of St. Pius X. Now this is strange. Anyway, I keep adding these things up, fall of '80, and they're adding up. A friend of ours who had been in Oklahoma, near Oklahoma City, they'd travel once a month to come up to Mass at our house, because it was quite a drive for him. Then he got transferred to Houston, Texas, so they were moved down by Dickinson. So they'd go to Sunday Mass and possibly even daily Mass on occasion, etc. Well, they'd seen problems down Queen of Angels and Dickinson. She called us up one evening and said, "I'm taking one last shot to try and convince you to leave the Society of St. Pius X." And I said, "Well, take your shot, because I'm seeing things and I'm trying to sort this thing out." She sent us a pile of documentation that tall. We read all of it, even checked some of the stories. That's minor stuff. Whatever. It's adding up bigger and bigger and bigger. Then we come to about January of '81. Yes, in fact, the couple, they both worked at St. Mary's. They'd seen problems. They decided to get married. They were older, single people. They went to her home area, got married, and he told her, says, "I will marry you. We're leaving St. Mary's. If you're not ready to leave St. Mary's, I will not marry you, because there's something wrong there." Well, they did come back to get their things, say goodbye to their friends there, and ended up with a wedding reception for them, which people wanted to carry on. Dad said to people, says, "Okay, give us an hour. I'll take the couple out to dinner. We'll get dinner. You can get dinner. And come up to my place, and we'll carry on." And that's what happened. Well, everyone except two other couples had left. My parents have been having trouble with my brother in the school. They had the same problems. But they had all been told, "Your child is the only problem here. Everybody else is fine." Now we're starting to add things up. No. Something more is going on. Well, another lady in the area, she's trying to sort things out, and she started a research thing and started going to the people because teachers were leaving. And what would happen? They'd decide to leave. They'd go to Mass on Sunday. Monday, they go rent the U-Haul, load up, and drive out Tuesday. You might hear a little something about they're leaving, little rumblings. Well, she'd go try and, why are you leaving? Quiet. She's trying to sort this out. She came to us. I told her straight out, I says, well, I'll tell you what I know, and you can do with it what you will. But I think we have a duty, when there are serious matters to be discussed, to share what we know with those who are seeking to sort out the same thing we are. And that's what really got me moving. And so I'm thinking, I'm probably going to leave. So I decided I'm not going to do this wrong. I'm going to write a letter to the superior, Father Hector Boldick, and tell him what I'm seeing and see if something can be worked out. I'd already been in and out of his office numerous times throughout 1980. Nowhere, nothing. 16 pages I went to, between copies out of books for quotes, my own commentary, etc. Well, I'm making this decision. I know if I quit the Society of St. Pius X, as far as I could see, I'm cutting off all route to becoming a priest. And I still want to become a priest. True, I figured my hopes were about this, thick anyway. I didn't have much chance of anything coming out, but I thought I got to do the right thing. And so I said, I can't let it stop me. I have to do what's right. At the same time, I prayed to God, help me to see that I'm doing the right thing. Now, true, I'm doing everything a prudent person would do. I'm looking into things. I'm checking it against Catholic doctrine, the church laws, etc., etc., etc. Making sure I have the truth and I'm applying it properly. But we should always do these things with prayer. God, help me see that I'm doing the truth. And when you pray, sometimes God delivers. And what happened in about 3 days, boom, boom, boom. A question had come up. Father Boldick had been telling everyone St. Mary's is paid for. We'd heard it, others had heard it. Then someone comes over and says, well, I hear they owe a big chunk of money on the place. Well, Dad says, we can check that out. We took a run to Westmoreland, Kansas, the county seat. We ran the records. You talk about a messed up mess. Deeds run between dummy corporations, the company they bought it from, the dummy corporation. Deeds all over the place, 2 different land descriptions, and not one, but 5 mortgages, which add up to almost just a couple bucks under $300,000 they owed on the place. Now we have absolute evidence that Boldick was lying. Within a day or two, there was a meeting being set up by concerned parents to try and set up their own separate school with a private school over in the next big town to the west, Wamego. That very morning, Father Boldick had gotten back into town for that Sunday. He went on a short trip, and he's back in like Monday, Tuesday. I forget the exact dates. Whatever. He calls me up the morning of the meeting, sets a meeting with me for 1 p.m. Great. I'll take my letter. I go over early, make copies of my letter. So I have a copy, and I'm going to give him the letter. So 1 p.m. comes up. There's no Father Boldick in his office. I stay a little while, finally say, I'm going to go. So I take a look around. I check out the sacristy one last time. I go find my room's been broken into that I'd had over there because I was living at home, helping out with things there. Mom had surgery and a lot of other things going on in the family too. In any case, I check everything out and get back down around 2:30 or so, I think. No Father Boldick. And he had not been in between 1 and 2:30. Stay a little while longer, package up my letter, put it into the mail so it'll go to his inbox, and I leave. I say, I'm not waiting any longer. Tell him I was here. Well, he found out about the meeting and invited himself. And so everyone's kind of nervous with him there. The principal and a couple other people, they put on a presentation of the system they're using, the pay system, whatever. We go through the presentation, we do a tour. We're all touring the schoolroom. And Father Boldy comes up to me and says, why weren't you at that meeting at 1 o'clock today? I said, well, Father, I was at that meeting at 1 o'clock today. I was there at 1. I explained I was there at 1. And I was back there at 2:30. And he was not in his office. He says, no, I was in the office all the time. And he said, well, what were you copying at the copier? I left the last page on the copier. It's a mistake I still do. I find last pages on the scanner all the time. I just something I do. I said, well, didn't you get your copy? I put it in the mail to go to your mailbox. And so that was in that. Well, a few of us gathered back at the house afterwards, and come to find out Father Boldig was not in the office. I'd seen his car up by Bellarmine Hall where the school was when I walked up there, because I was in Loyola Hall. It was where my room was. So his car was up there, both when I went up and when I walked back down. In any case, he had been in one of the classrooms for 2 hours, from right after lunch to 3 o'clock. We had several of the parents, their children were in that classroom. So now I had him on another lie. This one straight out, I'm an eyewitness to him. I had someone standing next to me who heard the whole exchange. And then now I've had, I think, 3 witnesses to his actual location, including my own seeing his car up there and stuff. I thought, well, thank you, God. Didn't ask for that much. But it was clear I was doing the right thing. Make a longer story a little shorter. The next day, Boldy called up, demanded I come down again. Says, I'm not coming. I resign. We spent over an hour on the phone. I kept saying, I resign, I resign, I resign. I get off the phone, I write a letter of resignation, and I cut it for good then. Because I knew, right, I should be out. Now, I did look, you see, I was launching into the unknown. I thought, I've got to do it. So just do it. We should think about, is what I'm doing at the time right, or is it wrong? If it's the right thing to do, do it, and let the chips fall where they may. So, you've got a brief glimpse of my quitting of the society. I could probably sit here and do gigabytes on it, and hours, on lots of things. And of course, if you have questions, send them in for Fish Eaters Fridays. And if they're about my life, I may deal with them separately like I'm doing with this here on the fear of the unknown. Don't fear the unknown. God will always be with you.